A USA Today article is highlighting a growing and complicated issue among young men, particularly Gen Z. They say their relationship with online pornography has become compulsive, isolating, and even difficult to control.
Yeah, many reports being exposed at very young ages, and now as young adults are turning to peer-led support groups and digital communities to help them quit. So of course we got to bring in our 9 News mental health expert, Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, here with us now to dive in deeper. So first and foremost, what is driving this increase in young men right now, and how concerned should we be?
Yeah, I think, I know this is really hard for parents to think about, but what's driving this is the easy access. So if you think about, let's say for boys, you've got a 10, 11, 12-year-old boy, they're curious about all sorts of things. They always have been, always will be. And now they have this ability to just go online and check things out. And so if you look at the stats, they say about a quarter of kids, like 1 in 4 boys, has viewed pornography by the age of 11. And by the age of 13, it's 50%.
Oh, man.
So what happens is, whether it's intentional, and there's a good percentage that say over 60, actually around 60% say it was initially not intentional, right? So it's like 60-40, they see it. And so what happens is they realize, for some kids that become then teens and then young adults, it becomes a way to escape your world and to just not have to deal with what's happening in real life. And so what we're seeing, and some of the stories, if you read that articles, it started off with just viewing it, and then having to see it several times a day, maybe pairing that then with masturbation or other things. And so if you put it all together, you've got this developing brain, right? And so the developing brain is like, oh, this feels good. This is rewarding. I want more of this.
So does that lend to an actual addiction, or would you call it something else? Does that not fit?
Right. So right now in the DSM-5, this is not an addiction, but when we look at brain studies, the same reward circuit in the brain does get activated. But right now, I would say it's more of a compulsion. And when you do it more and more, like anything over time, it becomes a compulsion that is really hard to break. And so I think that's why we're seeing this movement where now, maybe 10 years later, after, again, this might be 10, 15 years of sort of hiding, probably having shame, potentially having some mental health issues paired with it, where people are coming out and saying, I don't just want to stop, but I actually want to talk about this and what this experience was like, and finding or reporting, at least anecdotally, that that's even better, the sharing, because it's such a secret for so many people.
So how do we destigmatize it so more kids open up? And what are your solutions here? I mean, does this affect intimacy later on? What do we do now to prevent that from happening later?
Yeah, so that's a twofold thing. The quick answer is it affects intimacy and just the way the studies show that men view women, because that is one of the things when a child views pornography, they have a very skewed perspective of sex, of intimacy, of what it means to be in a healthy relationship. So yes, there are long-term consequences. So I think for kids, we have to start getting comfortable, first of all, just talking about their bodies, right? Just simply, again, name anatomically correct parts, talk about bodies, and be that person who's open to, like, you're gonna have questions about your own body, other people's bodies, and I want to be the person to answer them for you. So that's a real stepping stone. I think if you're listening right now and you have a teen and you've caught them doing this and you're worried about them, I think you wanna look at their whole life. You want to know things like, can they stop? Do they feel like they have to do it all the time? Is this how they're filling their voids? Are they socializing? When you put the big picture together, you start putting little puzzle pieces to get that big picture, you can usually get a sense of whether this is problematic or exploratory. And then if you think it's problematic, I would really suggest getting professional mental health help, because now we're looking at young men who are saying, we're dealing with this, we're trying to stop this, this is really a problem. So I'm really glad they ran that story and that we're talking about it. I know it's uncomfortable to talk about, but it's necessary.
Yeah. Yep, I was just going to say, but if there's somebody to kind of break through that discomfort and talk about it directly, it is Dr. Cheryl Ziegler. So we're glad that you're here to have those hard conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.